Hello, everybody. I apologize. I'm using a new software and I seriously was um I am 5 minutes late and nobody's going to be here because this is the wrong link. And unfortunately, yeah, I'm using a new software. Oh, look, there are 5 people here already. That's good. So I'm using a new software and I definitely was scrambling a bit there. And this is going to be completely the wrong link that I originally had planned. But I hope people end up showing up. And there are 6 of you here on Facebook and YouTube, which is smaller than normal, but that's okay. And then I got my 4 people on Instagram. Hi. It's kind of funny. So, if this is your first time here, my name is Robin, and I help overwhelmed people simplify their lives by getting rid of the excess and productivity and everything. And I also have a special focus on people with ADHD, anxiety, any other neurodiversities. Even if you don't have that, I think you probably still know what it's like to struggle with those things. So, right. If you're here, say hi. Oh my gosh, the chat is here. Oh, Carrie, it's a beautiful day and you're drinking hot apple cider. Don't forget to tell me where you're from. And my lovely person from the Hebrides is here. Hello, Debbie. Good morning, Ginger. Hi, Ashley. Hi, Alazara. Hi, good morning. Good morning. Oh my gosh. Woohoo. Tracy's here from Ontario. So, you guys, I have this delicious drink today, and I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to tilt it. I made a candy cane latte from David's Tea. Now, I love David's Tea. Hi, Ginger. It's your first time here. So I love David's Tea. You may have heard Debbie's having Earl Grey. And so I ordered the candy cane. What's it called? Candy cane crush. So good. So what I do is I make like this much of it. I steep the tea and then I make a latte. We have like a little latte / hot chocolate maker and I pour that over top. And then I put crushed candy cane on top. So I love my David's tea. Mm, yum. It's so delicious. So if you want to get that, you can click the link in my bio if you want, which does support the channel. But honestly, I was never like, oh, I'm going to get sponsored by them. But then I thought, I drink so much of it and I talk about it so much, I may as well. So anyway, Erin is here from Spokane. We used to go to Spokane to shop when I was a kid. And I remember getting all the delicious American treats that we couldn't get in Canada. So it was so nice. Rita is here from Rhode Island. Jenny from Florida. Tanya from Tucson. Woohoo. Yeah, Debbie, it is pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. So I hope you guys are all doing well. I really was struggling with my new software today. And Instagram, tell me where you're from. I was really struggling with my new software. I had it all set up and I was like seriously just like walking around and doing just doing like my normal morning stuff. Like my kids are home today. They've got a Pro D day. And so that's nice and relaxed. And I was just saying, I'm pausing all of your internet so my stream doesn't get messed up. And then all of a sudden, I was struggling picking this up. So it's like, whatever. It's all good. Hashtag no story. You know what I'm saying? And then when I was getting my tea ready, my first cup of tea, pick up the kettle and I go to pour it. And I don't know how I completely tweaked my back. I am in so much pain. So please don't be angry if this stream ends early. And then I went and I lay down and then I decided to do some stretches. And then I realized that I did not even start steeping the tea. So I had to prioritize. So I went and got my tea. And Kelsey is drinking her Murchie's Rose Kongu this morning. I've got to get down to Murchie's. Is there a Murchie's in the Lower Mainland, or do you go to the one in Victoria? I don't even know. I think I've walked into that store once. Macy Mom is here from Orlando, Florida. All right, you guys. So I am loving this candy cane latte. And I am regretting my mistakes I had with this, but that's okay. So I put out a video this week about ADHD And so today we're going to talk about ADHD. Of course, we'll talk about Christmas because, like, why not? And then I've got some questions to answer as usual. And you guys feel free to answer and or ask any questions, and you can help each other out in the chat. I love it. Um, and yes. Oh, Leanne, are you from Inverness in Scotland? I'd love to know. And let's see. Well, there's a few in Vancouver. Okay. You just order online. Yeah, I've got to try some of those. Debbie says that she is baking mincemeat tarts for Christmas. My brother loves mincemeat, or at least he did. I don't know if he still does, but he would always put like a ton of whipped cream on it. You know, it's so funny because mincemeat tarts and butter tarts, I think I always found them just too sweet. So, you know what? Um, I think as I get older, I actually like them more now. And my dad, his thing was always actually mincemeat isn't as sweet as the butter tarts, but oh my gosh, like my dad, he would make really, really, really good butter tarts. So, and I hope you guys don't mind my microphone. When I'm in my office, there's a real kind of echo. And when I'm making my videos, I try not to use this big one just because it's so kind of like huge. Debbie, you make your own, so it only has stuff that you like in the mincemeat. That's just the great thing about making things at home. All right, so I'm going to do your questions towards the end. But if you guys like, you can even write question in all caps at the beginning, just so I find them when I get back to them. Ginger says that they're too rich and more than sweet for her. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's more the sweet, but I now, when I'm baking now, like I just reduce the sugar in almost everything. I love like What's Gobby Cooking, one of my absolute favorite food bloggers. If you are looking for something for dinner tonight, go to What's Gobby Cooking. It's spelled Gaby. She pronounces it Gobby. I would have said Gabby, but yeah, I definitely like to go to her recipes, but I always reduce the sugar. So, hello from Atlanta. Love your ADHD video. My older son and I both have it. You know what? So that's the thing. I am going to chat about ADHD a little bit because my family, I've got 2 kids with it. My husband has it. One of my parents has it. I really am familiar with the ADHD. I have not been diagnosed. I don't know if I have it. I think that most people have a lot of tendencies these days. In particular, that might not be the right word, but in particular because of social media and everything, like the way our society has changed, there's just so much to juggle, so much more than we used to have to. So, I love the farm series. I talk about it all the time. And the I don't know if you've watched it. It's a BBC Farm series, but my favorite one is Victorian Farm. But if you think about like back then, like they had a lot they had to do, but I don't think it was quite the volume of things. Like everything's easier now, but there's just so much more of it and um, so much more like it's easier, but it's not. So that is part of the problem, but for those who have ADHD and anxiety, autism, there's different things that everybody struggles with. And in particular, people with ADHD, time management is huge. So my oldest son really struggles with time management. He is an A+ student now this year. I cannot believe it. In grade 11. It's wonderful. But my word, does this child struggle? And I worry about him. I worry that he is going to lose a job one day because of his time management and because of getting late. And you know, it's a struggle. Like last night, I was really tired and I went to bed around like 9:30, and I said, he was in the shower and I was like, you need to wipe the counters and you need to do some hand washing because they divide up like the kitchen cleanup between the 3 boys, and they're 12, 14, and 16. So that's how we do it. But I got up this morning, he hadn't done any of it, and it's not like he was, like, lazy and dodging it. He just, like, straight up forgot. So, the thing about ADHD or people with ADHD and a lot of the other things is they're feeling bad about themselves anyway, and I don't want people to feel bad about themselves. I don't want my kids to feel bad about themselves, and yet I still feel like I'm, like, riding them all the time, and I'm like, "Hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. Why haven't you done this? Why haven't you done that?" And that's not what I want. They might think that's that I enjoy that. I don't. I do not enjoy that. Hello, everybody on Instagram. So I think that you have to really focus on, well, like, what are the positives of all these diagnoses? And there's a lot of creativity with people with ADHD. They can be really adaptable, but they're friendly usually. Like, it's just so there are so many good things, but the problem is in our current society, it is so hard for people to struggle. And Carrie says she is in the process of getting her son checked for ADHD. And you know what, Carrie? One of the best things you can do, and I know when our middle son was actually diagnosed first, and I remember saying, like, if anybody has it, it's our oldest son. And everybody was like, well, I don't know, because he was able to sit more quietly in class, and our other child had a lot more struggles with that. But the thing is, I would say that the middle one, the first who had been diagnosed, he is so much more, he functions better, I would say. But with our oldest, he just has to learn how to adapt himself to the world. Unfortunately, like, the world, unfortunately, is just not going to adapt to you. And, in this day and age, you still can't tell a lot of employers that you have ADHD, which is a real shame because there are so many, like I mentioned, there are so many positives to having ADHD. And, recognizing it, like your son being diagnosed, Carrie, that will be a benefit. And I remember when my oldest was first diagnosed, or my middle one, and they had said, "Well, you should get medication." And I was really hesitant. And so I'm a nurse though, and I think at the time I was a student. And so what I did was, I ended up taking a course about 6 months in, and realized that, so your frontal lobe right here in your brain is what helps you with attention, and what is sort of like what helps inhibit, like, kind of crazy behavior. That's why, like, teenagers are a little scary sometimes, because this is the part of their brain that is developing. So when you have ADHD, your frontal lobe is down here when it should be up here. People without ADHD or a lot of neurodiversities, theirs is here. However, if you have ADHD, your frontal lobe function is here. So the stimulant medication, and I didn't realize this at the time, the stimulant medication brings it up here. It stimulates the frontal lobe to come up here. So that is what made us say, okay, we will consider medicating our son. So we started medicating him. It was December. He was 8, I believe. And so we titrated it up slowly. That was a rough December for him, because until we got to that right dose, and he's an emotional kid. Like, he really, ever since he was like 2 or 3, it was a real struggle for him to just sort of like manage his own emotions. So it was really hard. Hi, Maddie. It was really hard for him to just sort of handle that. But once we got to the end of December, we were at the proper dose. All of a sudden, it was like he was another person. I got to know my son. We didn't get to know him before because he was just always struggling, like all of the he just overstimulated with everything all of the time. So that once we were able to, and I mean, I'm not saying you guys need to, I'm just saying, you guys, this is our story for medication with ADHD. So once I couldn't believe it. He was able to sit in class, but more importantly, he was able to live at home. He all of a sudden just became this super creative kid because he was able to actually tune out all of the excess. His frontal lobe came up here. So then he could actually live and just like enjoy things. And he was making, like, he made like a cuckoo clock out of Lego. I mean, I'm not joking. Like it was like he made a safe out of Lego. He made a maze. He has made all sorts of things. And he is now a really um he is a really amazing guitar player. Like he picked up a guitar and in a couple months people were amazed he had just picked it up. So that's the thing with people with ADHD. Incredible, incredible skills, incredible brains. So, and yes, I do have on my Slytherin shirt. I'm actually technically I did the test and it said I was a Gryffindor, but I was like, I'd rather be a Slytherin just because everybody wants to be a Gryffindor. Okay, I'm going to look at the comments. When the meds are right, it's like a switch flips and we are more ourselves. Exactly. And that is exactly it. It's like somebody else once said it was like putting on glasses, like where things are blurry and you're still kind of struggling a bit and you put on those glasses and all of a sudden things are clear. So nice. So then we got our oldest on medication too. The problem is there can be weight loss and things like that because the first line treatment is stimulants and they usually work the best, but you have to be really careful. So one of my tips is if I make my kids smoothies, I put like straight up whipping cream. I pour that in there. The most delicious smoothie you've ever had in your life. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for me. I'm not on any stimulant medication. Are you really a Slytherin, Larissa? And Kelsey. Kelsey's a Ravenclaw. Adriana says, I am debating meds for a mental disorder, and I have so much trouble thinking my body will get used to it. Did you worry about him being on it for the rest of his life? So for me, here's the thing for kids in particular. I don't know your age, Adriana. I'm assuming you're an adult because I don't think a lot of kids are interested in my content. But, in nursing and medical things, quality of life is important, right? And so if a person is struggling in life and they are not able to enjoy things and they're stressed and they're anxious, I am definitely for trying medication. Adriana, you're in your early 30s. I am for trying medication. And there are times where it takes time to get used to side effects. And I take a medication because I get really crazy. Like my PMS is like great first 2 weeks of the month. And then I get kind of cranky for the last two to the point where I was like, I need to do something about this. So I started taking something just to help with my mood. And I seriously found that I was anxious for a couple of weeks and I was like, I don't know if I like this, but I stuck it out because I know that, it takes time to get used to things. And then honestly, it's been great ever since, like you have to give time. You have to give yourself time to adjust to things and think about the long term and how good things can be. Like, for example, with our kids, worrying about them being on it for the rest of their life. Yes, Adriana, that is exactly what yeah, it's rough, right? And so for kids being on it for the rest of their life, for me, I was just thinking, I don't want them to feel terrible about themselves. Like our middle one, when I think about like his behavior, he wasn't a bad kid, but he was really, really struggling. And Silver Fox says she loves her medication. Exactly. So I don't want him to be getting in trouble all the time at school, not able to focus, not able to do well. And then, get into his teen years, which can always be scary with hormones and the frontal lobe is struggling even more. So, we made the decision that medications are definitely the way to go for our kids with ADHD because I want them to have the best chance they can at life. And then once they're adults, they can decide what they want to do. My husband, he has tried the medications and he has tried without. And so he just sort of decides what works best for him. But a lot of people with ADHD have developed some really great coping mechanisms. Women in particular, and this is why my heart is for you guys so much because a lot of women were not diagnosed as kids because everybody thought it was a boy's disorder. And then it turns out, no, 50% of people with ADHD are women. And so they have developed some really good coping mechanisms, but it's a struggle. And it's like with our son, who is getting A pluses in Math 11, which is amazing. He is on medication, but he works hard. Like their brains are working so hard. So people with these neurodiversities, they're working hard. And so if you can take a medication to help with that, and there may be side effects, do that. But as they become adults, they can decide if they want to carry on with them or not. Our middle one, I know he does not like them very much. Or no, he does for school. He does. When honestly, on the weekend, I don't give them to them anymore. I did when they were younger because honestly, it was like a mood regulating thing, especially for my middle one. But my both of them now, they don't really need it. And also, I kind of want them to have that. This is bugging me. I kind of want them to have that, like, well, their appetite for sure on the weekend, and they don't need to like hyper focus. So that is good. And I'm sorry if I ever have a vocal fry. Somebody actually commented once on my video, and I was like, I have allergies. I'm allergic to my cats. So Kelsey says the longest adjustment period I've dealt with was 6 months of side effects and adjusting doses. Then it all just clicked. And I have been 2.5 years now on my meds, no regrets. See, that's just it. It is like there's an adjustment period, but you have to think about it this way. And I'm going to go back to Adriana. You have to think about it this way because that adjustment period is only going to last a little while. And then you can have years and decades of feeling awesome. And so I'm not saying what anybody needs to do, obviously, but like, of course, like talk to your doctor, but don't be scared of medications. And yeah, you should give them a bit of a try sometimes for sure. Let me see here. Alizara. Yes, medication for a condition, no matter what, is so helpful. And there's no shame. It's like glasses are using a crutch. Exactly. Like that is just it. Like you wouldn't say to somebody, don't take your diabetes medication. Take your medication. Feel better. Don't you want to feel good? I do. And that's why I started that one medication. It is so good. I honestly, I take half of a dose for the first 2 weeks, and then I take the full dose for the last 2 weeks. We've worked that out between my doctor and my pharmacist. It works perfectly because of where I am in my hormonal stage of life. I'm 42, and I feel anxious for the last 2 weeks, and I am like irritable, and that's not fair to my family. Like I was like, I do not want that. I do not want that. Valerie says, I was diagnosed as an adult. I struggle to ignore the negative messages from my past. And you know what, Valerie? I don't want this to all be ADHD, but I have such a heart for people with ADHD. And I mean, like I said, I have my own issues, but you know, people with ADHD feel so badly about themselves, and you just don't need to. You have to forgive yourself. I think about things that, like everybody has things that they regret. People are like, no regrets. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm one of those people where things I've said just haunt me years later. I don't know why, like nothing major, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. And then I say to myself, Robin, come on. You got to forgive yourself. And I'm a person of faith. So I'll say a little prayer and I'll be like, God, please help me let this go because this is not serving anybody. Dawn says she was thankful for her meds and hormone replacement for depression and anxiety. Yeah. Okay, let me see what else. Elizara dealt with chronic pain and wanted to cry multiple days a week sometimes. Finally saw a pain specialist, got some pain medication, and now you take it every day and it's life changing. Yes, my mom, she has chronic pain as well. And I know it can be absolutely debilitating. And Larissa, it's so surprising. I've been hearing more adult women getting diagnosed with ADHD when I previously only knew men who had been diagnosed as children. And that's just the thing. Like, that's why I'm like, I feel so bad for all of these women who have been trying so hard their whole lives. Like they've tried and tried and tried and just been getting like terrible messages and feeling bad about themselves. Even me as a kid. And again, I haven't been tested. I don't think I need to, like, because I function well. But I remember people always saying, like, Robin just needs to stop talking in class. Robin just needs to stop talking in class. And I wouldn't say I'm like an overly chatty person now. I probably seem like it now on the live stream because I'm the only one talking, which reminds me I need a sip of my candy cane latte. That is good with that crushed candy cane. But yeah, like focusing can be so hard. And so, let me see. Anxiety medication has helped Satya. Yes. Like, take it. These darn chemicals in our brains. Like, why fight it? I mean, nobody wants to, but you want to feel better? Yeah, I do. I feel great now that I have my medication where for the second half of the month, I don't feel like miserable and grumpy and then feeling terrible for being grumpy with my family. I'm so much better. And Valerie, yes, working yourself to the bone and feeling like you're not trying. I see with my oldest kid how hard he is trying. And so it takes everything in me not to say, for God's sakes, I told you pick this up. Like, I don't, right? Like the kitchen, he still didn't finish the things from last night. That's okay. You can do it today. Like, don't feel bad about yourself, Valerie. Don't. Like, come on. Kelsey, you were diagnosed at 24. Yeah. Right. So Kelsey was diagnosed at 24, but the rest of her family had been diagnosed 20 years before that. Right. That's not good. Okay. I take escitalopram. It's probably, well, I don't know. I think that is one of the most common. It's a very mild one. For me, it's just for my mood. For like, I think it's perimenopause related, but it's just the second half of my cycle, and I don't know what we'll do going forward. But I'm happy for now. But I'm not, like I said, I'm a nurse, but I understand like the processes in the body. They're complex, and there are many things that can go right and can go wrong. I totally try to make sure my diet is really good. I avoid sugar, mostly because sugar, if I have it, I'm very sensitive to it and I can feel it. That's not to say I don't have it. My son, he made shortbread yesterday and I ate a tiny bit of it before I joined you guys. But also because I had protein with it. So I'm very careful to have protein and with carbohydrates because it really balances it in your bloodstream. Same with fats. And I learned that through the fitness program I'm with called Healthy Role Models, but very, very helpful. Okay. Well, I love talking ADHD, and I hope you guys like that this channel will be doing more of that. And also like anxiety and things, because I know anxiety makes it really, really hard for people to get started in doing things as well. And I was going to say the tips that we're working on with our son right now, because I really like, he's in grade 11, meaning, and he has huge dreams of going to UBC, in Vancouver or in Victoria, or maybe in Calgary. He's even looking at Montreal. Like, I'm like, what? I never thought that. So, and this is a child who is on medication. And he's doing well, but it's an ongoing thing. We see the pediatrician twice a year. But anyway, so for him, I have like his phone. I'm like, set a timer for this. And he's like, well, it helps me if you just text me or email me. And I was like, okay, but you need to learn how to do this stuff on your own. Like, I'm really sorry. Not to mention that it's a lot for me. My middle one, he was like, I'm going to go clean my room, because my husband and I were like, we're going to help you. You need help. And he was like, no, I want to do it on my own. But can you come and check on me every 10 minutes? And I was like, okay, no, you guys need to learn these things for yourself. So I'm a huge fan of timers. And then another really important thing, especially for teenagers, if you have teenage kids, or even if you do have ADHD, is it's really tempting to do the fun, enjoyable thing now, but do the work now and do the fun, enjoyable thing later. You won't forget to do the fun, enjoyable thing, I don't think. Maybe women will, but for my sons, no. Okay. And then I always tell him he's got to give himself extra time. Like he just kills me in the morning. He will just be like, all of a sudden look at his phone, or he'll be like petting a cat for like 10 minutes. I'm like, we gotta go. He's 16. He wants to make coffee. I'm like, make your coffee and then pet the cat. Oh my gosh. Yes, timers, they're the best. Okay, recipes for side dishes that can be frozen. That's a good one. I will have to look into that. Tracy says it's just for mood. For birth control seems to be the lazy, easy choice. I don't think so. Like you just do what works. If it works, do it. If it's yeah, like actually, oh gosh. There's a book. I'm trying to remember what it's called. I'm actually going to look it up. I have to go to my Kindle because I have it on Kindle. Oh my gosh, talk amongst yourselves. I have like these reminders on my, where's my Kindle? Oh, it's called something hormones. I know that's helpful, right? I might have to just share it later. But yes, it's so good about hormones. The other thing is there's a website out of UBC, but anybody can look at it called, I pronounce it Chemcor. It's CEMCOR. I don't think I can write up here. I can put it in the chat. Chemcor. You go to that. No matter what stage you are at in life, if you've got a child who is going to start puberty for women, so helpful. So helpful. Really good for perimenopause. All right. Okay, so Valerie says rewarding herself for a task doesn't usually work. Yesterday, her counselor is suggesting rewarding before or even after or both. Instead of binge watching, I can watch an episode before and after. That works. Like whatever works for you, right? Okay, so let's move along. I'm going to answer a couple of questions before I get into Christmas planning. Okay, Callie asks, any advice for someone struggling to find a cleaning routine? I feel so overwhelmed most of the time, and I feel like I just need something clear and simple. So I will be making a video on this soon. It's just hard to decide when with Christmas coming, although I have bumped up my videos to Mondays and Fridays. I might make it Thursday instead of Friday, but that's besides the point. This book, Simply Clean, I love it. I have it in my Amazon store, which I should have linked in the description. But this book, so when I talk Fly Lady, some people are very defensive of the Fly Lady, and I think that's lovely. And I don't have anything against the Fly Lady, but her routines are good. But it seems really, sorry, I got distracted by something I saw in the comments. It can seem really rigid, and her website can be really, really overwhelming, which is a shame. I hope she changes it because she's a really lovely lady. And then I guess she sends emails all the time. I don't sign up for that. But this one, I love it. And so it's basically like Clean Mama. And she does on Mondays, she cleans the bathroom. On Tuesday, she dusts. On Wednesday, she vacuums. And on Thursday she mops. And so some people, and so people will say, no, I can't, like, I got to mop right away. And she's like, well, spread it out, because the whole point is that you're not like running yourself ragged. So I really like her routine. I mean, I am a little flexible with it, in particular because I am a shift worker. So sometimes that doesn't work for me, but I definitely get those things done every week. And I love, she also has like these rotating tasks. And this would be good for people with ADHD too. You just have to like somehow remind yourself if you want to do it on a calendar, in your phone, whatever. And I love this, like in this, she says, January, and you don't have to do, right? But January, vacuum the baseboards, vacuum and spot clean furniture, clean light fixtures, wash your rugs, polish wood furniture, change filters, clean oven. And so for me, I love my plum planner. Let me look here. Okay, so this last week, I don't know if you can see that, you guys. Oh, my back is not a happy back. Okay, so it says, so for my home tasks, I put down vacuum, mop, dust, vacuum furniture, wiping appliances, things like that. Super, super helpful. So I recommend this book, and it is in my Amazon store. And I will put a link in the description as soon as this is done, because I forgot. And the second question, can you freeze all baked goods? I love a video about food planning ahead of time. I will make a video about that for sure. I would love to. So it depends on the baked good if you can freeze it for sure. Like a lot of things aren't going to defrost well. If it's something that has like some kind of like a glossy coat or like if you did decorated sugar cookies with that like pretty icing, that would probably not defrost well unless you were very careful because it's going to somehow get some kind of like it'll get condensation on it, which will mess it up. So that's the problem. You need to be careful about that. Like if you're freezing a pie, for example, I would freeze my pie uncooked. Or as we've been talking about today, tarts, you could freeze them uncooked or freeze the pastry uncooked. And then you just take them out, pop them in the oven, and then they're very fresh tasting, which is really nice. And I'm going to get more into the baking in a minute when I chat about Christmas. All right. And so another great subscriber said, about creating important. So Lenore, she said about creating important family traditions or reinventing / creating new traditions after a separation. So I thought this was a really sweet, heartfelt comment. And I thought that this was, I would try to look at it more as an opportunity. And I would be like, what traditions do I like? What traditions that I did I like? Maybe with your past spouse or your family of origin. What traditions would you like to do that you've never done before? Like maybe you think they're like from different cultures around the world. Like maybe you like certain things like Swedish people do or wherever. So just research it, right? So for us this year, we're kind of starting a new tradition, and I don't know if my family's going to like it, and that's okay with me. So what we are going to do, my grandparents moved. I don't know if you saw the video. I posted it last Friday. You can watch it. It was hard. Their house was the house people went to for big dinners. We have a big house. I look forward to downsizing it one day, but we have a big house. So I feel the pressure to have people over on Christmas, but I also know myself. I know I get overwhelmed. I know I get tired, and I know I like to really guard my energy. I often usually work on Boxing Day. So I won't be hosting Christmas dinner on Christmas Day. But what I will be doing is on December 22nd, we are going to have a dinner at our house for our family. I don't know if it'll be like a full-blown turkey dinner. I probably won't be because I assume if people want, they can find a turkey dinner somewhere else. We might just do something else. And then on our own family, like for my husband and my kids and I and my mom, if she's not going somewhere else, she can come over too. We were saying like, let's do a prime rib roast. We've never done that. Like we might just do something like that, or we might do something really easy. And I've talked about this before, like the Christmas when my husband and we lived up in the Queen Charlotte Islands in Canada. And it was my first Christmas away from my family. And I was so sad. And I had a 2-year-old and I had a 3-month-old. And I remember my husband was supposed to work that night. And I ended up putting out, when he was coming home late, he's a shift worker. And I was like, hey, he's going to be home like any minute. So I like put out all the presents and I'm waiting and I'm watching It's a Wonderful Life. And then he calls and he's like, I can't come home because somebody else can't come in to relieve me. And I was so upset. And I put all the Christmas presents away, not out of like spite or anything, but I was just like, what are we going to do? Right. So, oh, my back. So, but the good news is our kids were really young, like 2 and 3. Like our 2-year-old had no idea. He didn't wake up saying like, what happened? Right. So what was great was that day, Christmas Day, we had Christmas dinner. And then the next day we did presents. It was so nice to spread it out. So this year Well, that's what we're doing. We are making a new tradition. So I think that is nice that you can just sort of come up with the own traditions you want to do. Another family tradition that my family has is we go down to Victoria on Vancouver Island where I live, and they've got gorgeous lights at this place called Butchart Gardens. It's just incredible. So we are going to do that. I'm going to have a sip of tea. Okay. Valerie is saying that she is like to learn about getting through life after other major changes. For example, a few months ago, there was a shocking death that changed her world, now attempting holidays without them. So, I think that you have to just take things as they come. This might not be the best Christmas for you. Um, and you may want to avoid a lot of Christmas talk. Like I'm going to be doing a lot of Christmas talk, but or not, like sit with your feelings. So whatever you do, don't avoid your feelings. Just feel them, think about it. Um, yeah. And Valerie says with her in-laws, she did presents on Christmas Eve and dinner on the day. Yeah, that's what a lot of people do. A lot of Scandinavians do that as well. You've got to go to Butchart at Christmas, Kelsey. So nice. So Valerie, I hope I answered that, but I don't know how people really can deal with loss around the holidays. I think sometimes, unfortunately, it's kind of a write-off that year. The other thing is just sit with your feelings, right? I think people end up in trouble when they're not acknowledging their feelings. PTSD, which we know very well in my house, is from people who are not feeling the feelings they need to feel. Pushing it aside, that's when PTSD develops. So, and same with a lot of other disorders. You need to just feel your feelings and just be like, I feel rotten, you know. Okay, so not a duck. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you guys, it's 9:46. I can't believe it. Okay. What I'm planning for this week. I love talking Christmas. I'm gonna talk about it. So I am going out on Saturday because I have to take 2 of my kids to work. Now 2 of them work. So oh yeah, there are more questions. I will get to them. I'm going to scroll through. If you asked a question and I didn't answer it, you can always re-ask it and write question so I can find it more easily. That's a tip. So on the weekend, Saturday, we're going to decorate. I did do a bit of decluttering of my Christmas stuff yesterday. I wouldn't normally do it this early. But I wanted to make a video and I wanted to get it to the Salvation Army, no, Hospital Auxiliary, where I bring things early. So I did do that. And so I did start decorating, which was a little early. And even my 12-year-old was like, doesn't it seem a little early to start decorating for Christmas? And I was like, I know, this is the last time it'll be this early. So normally I like to decorate around the 15th. And I know that seems crazy, but the reason why is because then it's out of the way. It's a lot of work in some ways. Wait till you see my tour. There's more than one Christmas tree, but it is all about the light, and I try to make it as minimal as possible. You're going to have to see it. Let me know what you think. I'm really curious. So that video, I think I'm probably going to put out on the 19th, but the decluttering one is on Monday, the 15th. So I, on the weekend, will be buying gift cards. So I'm going to buy gift cards for, what have I got here? For teachers. And then I also had gift cards for nieces and nephews there too. Well, I don't know if I'll even be seeing a lot of those. But just gift cards. And so I've heard some people have said, like, what is a good price to get to, like, well, how much should you get for the gift card for the teacher? It kind of depends, right? Like for me, I have 3 kids and I have 3 homeroom teachers, and there are all these other teachers. So I'm not sure who all we will be buying for, but I think $5 to $10 is even fine. I mean, it doesn't have to be extravagant. You really honestly just showing a token of appreciation. And I think that buying them an expensive coffee from Starbucks or Tim Hortons is nice, right? So I think $5 or $10 is plenty. But if you've got one kid and you want to like splurge, go ahead. The other thing I'm going to do this weekend And I think I'll make a post on this. And I am making a post tomorrow about my favorite Christmas movies. But this, oh, it's hard to get my camera to not find my face. This is my baking list. So I'm doing my pantry stock this weekend. I usually start baking around the 15th and then I freeze it. So I will be buying things for shortbread, even though my son made shortbread yesterday. Actually, I have everything for shortbread. I make the Christmas Jello from the Pioneer Woman, which is delicious. You've got to try it. I know it sounds weird. Google it. Pioneer Woman Christmas Jello. And I don't think Meg is here today, but she's in France and she says there's no Jello there. So if she really wanted it, she'd have to order it. Gingerbread. So I need to make sure I've got stuff for that. I'm not necessarily making all of this stuff, like obviously. Vanilla crans, so good. Cranberry squares, they were really good. And it's the same ones that Starbucks has. I found, if you find me on Pinterest, I think it's just Minimalist Home. I don't use it very much, but I do have it on there. It's so good. Speculas, made those last year. Another really good Scandinavian treat. Crunchy bars. My husband loves those. So, like that honeycomb kind of sugary treat covered in chocolate. Sugar cookies. Those are probably the last thing I make, funny enough. Confetti. I was the only one that liked that, which is basically, I don't know if you've had this and if it's called the same. You know how it's always different with every family, or it can be. It's marshmallows with butterscotch chips mixed with peanut butter. It is so good. But I was the only one that liked it, which meant I was the only one that ate it. So maybe my mom can make it and just hand it out to a bunch of other people and give me some critters. That's another one my mom would make, which is like, it's got chocolate, sweetened condensed milk. I don't think I'll make those ones either. Savory shortbread. I love savory shortbread. So they have like cheese and rosemary. Oh my gosh, like so yummy. Cranberry bliss bar, sausage rolls, and whipped shortbread. So those are things I need to get things for if I decide. I'm going to have a look. You want to, let me see what Kelsey says. You want good Scandinavian baking? Try making pulla, sweet yeasted cardamom bread. So delicious and it freezes amazingly. Okay, I'm going to do that. I will make that. I'm going to write that down. Pulla. Okay, I'm going to look here because I saw there was some good stuff going on in the chat here. I have health issues as well. I use the routine of what is one thing I can do to improve this room. That's a great, great tip. Sabine says, my 15-year-old is looking for work in Calgary. What did your sons find? Not looking for places, just ideas. So my oldest works at a grocery store. He just works on the weekend. And my middle one, who's 14, I'm shocked because I thought the laws changed in the province, but I guess it's okay. He's starting at McDonald's tomorrow. So how's that for crazy? I thought I saw somebody posting some. Oh, Kelsey says, pop it out of the plate, put in frozen in a pastry when you're ready to use it. Yeah. So like for pie, I do that sometimes. Yeah. If you don't have foil pie plates, one way. Yes. So freeze it. And I do that with even sometimes like I've made like chili and I put a Ziploc bag in the pot, pour it in, freeze it in the pot in the bag, and then I can just take it right out. And then when it's time to cook it, I defrost it a bit and then plop it in the pot. So Larissa says she finds super rigid cleaning routines discouraging. Her routine fluctuates. Yeah, because she has migraines. So that's just it. That's why my routine is super flexible. And I just do a mix of Clean Mama and Fly Lady because I don't have the lifestyle that can handle, like as a shift worker, there's time, like if I work a 12-hour day, I'm not going to come home and mop. Right. So yeah, Simply Clean. She's so good. All right. I was going to look. There was a question way at the top. Looking through the questions. Favorite teas, favorite Christmas teas. Well, I am drinking the candy cane crush. Mm. There's like chunks of candy cane. So that one's from David's Tea, and you can use the link below if you want to support the channel. You don't have to, though. You can always just Google it. I just love their tea. So for Christmas teas, I like that one. I like the hot chocolate one, but I like to also put candy cane in the hot chocolate one. And then I just got one called Christmas Breakfast, I think, and I need to try that one. I think I'm going to go and try that one as well later today. And I'm just scrolling up here. Way at the beginning, somebody asked a question, which was so lovely. I love it. The drink and the mug are gorgeous. If you're in Canada, and are you? You are, Tracy. Chapters had those, and they're probably on sale. Builder's tea here. Good and strong, but not reboiled as old folks do. I don't know what Builder's tea is. I also don't know your name, Sunshiny in the Hebrides. If you tell me, I might remember it next time, which I would like to. Okay, Sarah, here we go. Do you have any best practices for instances when you have a child with a birthday that's close to Christmas? Okay, so Kelsey actually answered that, and she said that her 9 is a week before Christmas and they throw him a half birthday. I have always felt sorry for people who have birthdays around Christmas. I hope that's not bad to feel sorry for them, but I think that it is probably hard. I have a friend, her son's birthday was, it was either Christmas Eve, Christmas, or Boxing Day. And they gave him a birthday, but I think it's a struggle, right? Especially if it's like one of those 3 days in particular. Yeah, I love the idea of a half birthday. Love it. And for me, my birthday is in the summer, and 2 of my kids are in the summer as well. And so when I was a kid, sometimes we did a thing where I would have a birthday around like June. They would give me a party around June or September. It didn't happen very much, in particular because as a kid, I was very lucky. We had I'm just looking through questions here as I talk. We had my grandparents had a cottage on a lake on Vancouver Island until it burned down. I mean, that was when things were cheap to buy, right? Now it's very popular here, but we would go there, and often several family members were there. And so I was very lucky to have a big birthdays. So I don't think my family felt that sorry for me, which was okay. So you could always just do a party in November or January. I think that's an idea as far as like friend parties go. But the other thing, yeah, I like the half birthday idea. I think that's great. I know somebody I saw, I think it was on Instagram, they do half a cake for half birthdays. I thought that was really cute. So it would be like a half a circle. So cute. All right, I think that's the wrong one. So weird when your kid, I'm just finding a really old comment here. It's so weird when your kids are out of school, college, graduate, professional, you have to find yourself and your gift lists are different. Yeah. Okay. Kalonika says, you simplify PTSD so well. I've been trying to figure out CPTSD and the idea that it results from holding your feelings in instead of expressing, acknowledging them. Brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, actually, it was a psychologist I was talking to who told me that once. And I don't personally have, well, I have a very mild, I shouldn't say a mild form. I don't suffer like some people do. I was a dispatcher previously earlier, and there were a lot of really disturbing things that I was privy to and experienced. But I am very good now at processing my feelings. So yes, you definitely need to keep things flowing. You got to feel your feelings. And then I am going to, so Kalonika says, I can't commit to always doing the giant house chore on the designated day. It's demoralizing to fail right out of the gate. That is why in my planner, I have a list of things I want to do for the week. And so when I am making my list of things to do, and I mean, I am making 3 videos a week if you count this live stream, because I do want to come up with topics and questions, and I want to research some things that need to be researched. I want to make a thumbnail for all of them. I want to write and all of that. So I have a lot of things I want to do every week, including working and family things. So I put things down on what I want to do, sort of like there's different categories, right? But I want to get done right away, or like that is the top priority, and so for the house, I put down the things I want to get done for that week. I don't beat myself up if I don't. If anything is going to fall by the wayside in my house every week, it is dusting might go and perhaps floor washing. So I do my very best to get the bathrooms have to be done. I have 3 boys. There's just bathrooms, like they have to be. For me, that is just my personal thing. And then the other thing is, yeah, so when my kids were babies, the floor had to be cleaned like almost every day. Now they're not babies. So sometimes what I do is we invested in a robot vacuum last year. We got money for Christmas from several family members. So I invested in that. And sometimes I send him, it's one that we call him, and his name is Grogu Bot, after the adorable Grogu from Mandalorian. So the one we have, I got from Costco, and you can set it so that it just goes in a certain room. So I will send him to the kitchen, and then I might quickly mop the kitchen floor, because the kitchen floor, I think everyone can agree, is the floor that usually gets the dirtiest. So I will do that. So I don't beat myself up if I don't get something done. If something's bad enough, I'll just wipe it right away. Sometimes I go by my kid's bathroom and I'm like, so I quickly do a wipe or something. I like weekly lists to do. Then I have options. Exactly. Like, I think for me, like house cleaning, it's sort of like nice to do, not a like have to do. What else here? My birthday is right before Christmas. It's difficult to separate them from holiday excitement. I think the half birthday party in the summer is a wonderful idea. Yeah, that is a good idea, Kelsey. I really like that. It's hard for him because his siblings all have mid-year, and he got all of his presents at once. The half birthday increases the fun. 2 birthdays. Yeah, I mean, like you can have your like birthday present, and then your friends, I don't know, it's funny because at work, sometimes I'll be like, oh, your birthday's Christmas, right? Like if I'm checking them into the urgent care, and they're like, yeah. So I don't know if people ever are like, hooray, but it is what it is, unfortunately. Hello, my everyday everyday wife life. Okay. All right. Hello, Debbie from Dundee in the east coast of Scotland. My mother-in-law is from Edinburgh. My niece just moved there from Vancouver Island. Her mom was born there, so she, I guess, can have some kind of citizenship, and then she's going to go to school, so that's fun. Kalonika says, my perimenopause was just like yours, 17 days fine, 10 days of misery, and then the fallout. I wish someone could have helped me with some hormone therapy then, but I've got it figured out now. Yeah, that's just it, right? And so the and somebody was mentioning progestin, and if you look up Chemcore, Kelsey, I think that was you. If you look up Chemcore, they say progesterone you want, not progestin. And so I'm not offering medical advice. I'm just saying research it, because there are some really big differences that you need to look up, like important ones. Yes. So you don't want the synthetic version. You've got to get wait, I'm confused. You know what? I think there's progesterone and progestin. You need the bioidentical one. So just make sure you're taking the right one. I've taken it too. And you know what? I found that it didn't actually, I think it's a bit too soon for me to take it. Look at the Chemcore website though. I'm going to put it in again because it's just so important. And I'm not offering medical advice. This is just my own experience, but I took it. because like your cycle can change. And so even taking it for a month, and there's this doctor, and her name is Dr. Geraldine Pryor, and she is the one who works at UBC. And she even wrote a book because her perimenopause was so bad. And so she wrote this book, and she's done a ton of research. And I think, like every researcher who's like getting up in years, she's trying to find people to take it over. But so for me, I was having a few issues. Like, I think my cycle was getting really short, which was not fun, especially when I was feeling like so grumpy for half of it. It was so terrible. And the problem is, like, the 2 weeks before your cycle never change. It's like if hormones, like the great like first half of the month hormones, that will shorten first, because once you ovulate, it's always 2 weeks later that you get your period. So the first half can be really short. So that was really terrible. So I was taking um I took progesterone, and it really helped with the cycle. But what's great about it, it makes you really tired. You sleep like crazy. But what sucks about it is then when I'm normally sleeping really well the first half of my cycle, that didn't work so well, because then my brain was like, where's that thing that makes me sleep well? So it took probably a week to get, I'm telling you guys. Yeah. So there are two. So progestin is synthetic version, but there's the kind that comes in the birth control pill. That's not the kind that you want. According to Geraldine, you got to look up the research. I can't explain it all now. And I remember looking at the box, and it said progestin something. And I was like, this is not right. Like, it has to be progesterone. And they were like, no, no, no. And so I called the pharmacy, because I was like, it can't be the synthetic. I think it is the synthetic version you don't want. It has to be the one that's made from some kind of animal's urine. Let's see what this. Christy says, my son's is 1 week after January 2nd. We always did a big thing on New Year's Day. He was always off on his birthday, though. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people don't love their birthday. I have no thyroid and take thyroid medication, and menopause was hell. But now that I'm postmenopausal, I feel so much better. And I also have Hashimoto's. Yeah. I'm glad that you like this. Yes, I know. Isn't that funny? Premarin, pregnant Mary urine. Isn't that great? Yes, I love this live stream. That was fun. It was really fun to talk. ADHD so much, perimenopause. I was not expecting that, but hey, I'm an open book. I'm not going to hide anything. Got nothing to hide. Okay. Well, guys, I don't see any more questions, and it is like 10:07 and my back hurts. And I paused all my kids' internet because I didn't want to screw up there. So I'm going to go. Really appreciate everybody coming. You guys are so nice. And I will see you next week. I'm going to try to put out a post and ask for questions, but you guys know, ask me questions anywhere. If I see them on any of the videos or anywhere, I often will include them. So I will check.